You planted your garden in May and harvested it once in July. Now what? The conventional garden sits mostly empty, waiting for fall crops. What if I told you 10 crops produce continuously all summer long? Not one big harvest, daily pickings from June through September. Here's how to grow them in the smallest backyard. Cherry tomatoes plant. Indeterminate cherry tomatoes and harvest for 14 weeks straight. Determinate varieties produce once, then quit. Indeterminate varieties keep flowering and fruiting until frost kills them. One plant in a 2 square foot space produces 15 to 25 pounds over summer. Harvest every 2 to 3 days once fruiting starts. The plant never stops setting new flowers while earlier fruits ripen on lower branches. Bush beans. Single bean plantings produce for 2 weeks, then finish. Plant beans every 2 weeks from May through July and harvest continuously for 12 weeks. Each planting matures in 50 to 60 days and produces for 2 to 3 weeks. Overlapping plantings mean you always have beans ready to pick. 4 plants per square foot in a 10-foot row gives you 4 to 6 pounds per succession planting. 3 succession plantings equal 12 to 18 pounds total from minimal space with steady supply instead of overwhelming glut. Zucchini. Bush zucchini occupies 4 to 6 square feet and produces 15 to 25 pounds over 8 to 10 weeks. Vining varieties sprawl across 20-plus square feet for similar yields. Choose compact bush types like Raven or Dunya. Harvest daily once production starts because zucchini grows from finger-sized to baseball bat-sized in 2 days. Daily harvesting triggers more flowering. Miss a few days and production slows because the plant shifts energy to maturing giant fruits instead of setting new flowers. Cucumbers. Vining cucumbers need 10 square feet of horizontal space or 6 feet of vertical trellis. Bush and patio varieties like Space Master or Bush Champion stay compact in 2 to 3 square feet while producing 10 to 15 pounds over 6 to 8 weeks. Train them up a small trellis or cage to save ground space. Harvest every 2 days. Cucumbers left on the vine too long signal the plant to stop flowering and start seed production. Keep picking and the plant keeps producing new fruits to replace what you removed. Peppers. Peppers produce 12 to 16 weeks continuously from June through September. Plant them in 1 to 2 square feet each. Bell peppers yield 8 to 12 fruits per plant. Hot peppers produce 50-plus small peppers per plant over summer. The plants flower continuously and every flower becomes a pepper if conditions are right. Harvest regularly to prevent branches from breaking under fruit weight and to encourage more flowering. Peppers tolerate heat better than tomatoes and keep producing through 90-degree days that slow other crops. Swiss chard. Chard produces 16 to 20 weeks without replanting. Plant 4 to 6 plants per square foot. Harvest outer leaves weekly when they reach 6 to 8 inches long. The central growing point continues producing new leaves from the crown. Each plant yields 8 to 12 pounds over a full summer from continuous outer leaf harvesting. Rainbow chard adds color with red, yellow, orange, and pink stems. The plants tolerate heat and partial shade. Use chard anywhere you'd use spinach, but chard doesn't bolt in summer heat like spinach does. Basil. Single basil plantings flower and decline by midsummer. Plant basil every 3 weeks from May through July for continuous supply through September. Pinch growing tips weekly to force branching and prevent flowering. Each tip you remove becomes 2 new branches. One plant properly pinched produces double the leaves of an unpinched plant. 4 to 6 plants per square foot with aggressive pinching yields 2+ pounds of fresh leaves per plant over 12 to 16 weeks. The more you harvest, the bushier the plant grows and the more leaves it produces. Let it flower and leaf production stops. Lettuce. Lettuce bolts when temperatures hit 75 degrees. Heat-tolerant varieties like Jericho, Muir, or Red Sails tolerate 85 degrees under 50% shade cloth. Plant lettuce every 2 weeks in small sections under shade cloth or on the north side of taller crops like tomatoes. Afternoon shade from neighboring plants keeps lettuce productive through summer. Cut and come again harvesting means you cut outer leaves and the crown regrows within 10 to 14 days. 16 plants per square foot with succession planting yields 4 to 6 pounds per square foot over 6 to 8 weeks when conventional lettuce would have bolted and died. Eggplant standard. Eggplant varieties grow 3 feet tall and wide. Compact varieties like Fairy Tale, Hansel, or Patio Baby stay under 2 feet and produce in 2 to 3 square feet of space. Each compact plant yields 10 to 15 fruits over 10 to 14 weeks. Asian eggplant varieties produce 20 to 30 slender fruits from the same space. The plants flower continuously once they start, and every flower becomes an eggplant. Harvest every 5 to 7 days when fruits reach appropriate size for the variety. Small varieties like fairy tale are ready at 3 to 4 inches. Leaving mature fruits on the plant slows new flower production because the plant prioritizes ripening seeds in existing fruits over setting new ones. Eggplant belongs to the nightshade family along with tomatoes and peppers. Like its relatives, eggplant produces flowers continuously throughout summer as long as temperatures stay between 70 and 90 degrees. Each flower contains both male and female parts and self-pollinates without requiring insect activity. The flower opens in the morning. By afternoon, pollination is complete. Within 3 days, the tiny fruit begins swelling at the base of the spent flower. From pollination to harvest-size fruit takes 12 to 20 days depending on variety and temperature. Compact varieties were bred specifically for container and small space production. Fairy tale produces purple and white striped fruits, 3 to 4 inches long. The plant stays under 24 inches tall and produces continuously without staking. Hansel is similar but solid purple. Patio Baby produces round 2-inch fruits on 18-inch plants. These varieties prioritize fruit count over individual fruit size. Instead of producing 6 large 1-pound fruits like standard varieties, compact types produce 15 to 20 small fruits weighing 2 to 4 ounces each. Total yield is similar, but harvest frequency increases because small fruits mature faster. Asian eggplant varieties like Japanese long or Chinese pingtung produce slender fruits 8 to 12 inches long, but only 1 to 2 inches in diameter. The plant size is similar to standard American eggplant, but fruit shape allows denser production. You can fit more slender fruits on the same branch structure compared to bulky globe eggplants. The skin is thinner and sweeter. The flesh has fewer seeds and cooks faster. These varieties are ideal for stir-fries, grilling, and quick cooking applications where standard eggplant can be spongy. Harvest timing directly impacts future production. When you leave mature fruits on the plant, it receives signals to prioritize seed development in those fruits. Energy shifts from flowering and setting new fruits to maturing seeds in existing fruits. The plant produces fewer new flowers, and those that do form often abort without developing into fruits. Regular harvesting removes mature fruits before seed development begins. This keeps the plant in productive mode, continuously flowering and setting new fruits to replace the ones you harvested. An eggplant harvested every 5 to 7 days produces double the total yield of an identical plant where fruits are allowed to fully mature on the vine. Pole beans, bush beans take up horizontal space. Pole beans climb vertical trellises and produce more pounds per square foot of ground space. 4 pole bean plants at the base of a 6-foot trellis occupy 6 inches of ground space, but produce 8 to 12 pounds over 6 to 8 weeks. The plants keep flowering and setting new pods as long as you keep harvesting. Pick every 2 to 3 days. Pods left too long become tough and stringy and signal the plant to stop flowering and focus on seed maturation. Kentucky Wonder and Blue Lake are reliable varieties. Plant them when soil warms in late May. First harvest comes in 60 days. Production continues until frost or disease stops the vines. Pole beans are indeterminate climbers. Unlike bush beans that grow to a predetermined height and stop, pole beans continue growing vertically as long as the vine finds support and weather permits. A healthy pole bean vine grows 8 to 10 feet tall over a summer season. This vertical growth habit is the key to their space efficiency. 4 plants at ground level send vines upward. Those vines flower and produce pods along their entire length. You're harvesting from 6 to 8 feet of productive vine growing from 6 inches of ground space. The equivalent production from bush beans would require 3 to 4 square feet of horizontal bed space. The trellis design impacts production and harvest ease. A simple structure is 3 8-foot posts driven 2 feet into the ground at the corners of a triangle with 3 feet between posts. The posts lean inward at the top and meet at a point, forming a teepee. You wrap garden twine around the structure in a spiral pattern from bottom to top. Plant 2 to 3 bean seeds at the base of each post. The emerging vines find the twine and climb naturally. This teepee design is stable in wind, sheds rain, and provides easy access for harvesting from all sides. Alternative trellis styles include A-frames, vertical netting stretched between posts, or simple pole and string setups. Flowering and pod development happen simultaneously on pole beans. While pods near the bottom of the vine are maturing and ready to harvest, the growing tip is producing new flowers. This continuous production continues as long as you keep harvesting pods before seeds mature inside them. Bean pods start small and tender. As they grow, the pods swell and the beans inside enlarge. At optimal harvest stage, the pod is firm and straight with small seeds barely visible as bumps inside. If you wait too long, the seeds enlarge dramatically. The pod becomes tough and fibrous, and eating quality declines. More importantly, once seeds start maturing, the plant receives hormonal signals that seed production is successful. Flowering slows and the plant begins redirecting energy from new flower production to completing seed development in existing pods. This is why harvest frequency matters so much for continuous production. If you harvest every 2 to 3 days and remove all pods at the tender stage, the plant never gets the signal that seed production is complete. It keeps flowering, desperately trying to produce seeds. You're exploiting the plant's reproductive drive to maximize food production. If you harvest once weekly and allow some pods to mature, production drops dramatically because the plant achieves its biological goal and stops trying as hard. Kentucky Wonder is the classic pole bean variety for good reason. It produces in 65 days from seed. The pods are 7 to 9 inches long, flat, and stringless when harvested young. The flavor is rich and beany, superior to most modern hybrids. Vines are vigorous and disease-resistant. Blue Lake is similar but produces round pods instead of flat. The pods freeze beautifully if you end up with surplus. Both varieties tolerate heat and continue producing through 90-degree days that slow bush bean production. Small space layout strategy. A 4x8 raised bed is 32 square feet. Use it efficiently by stacking crops vertically and to spawn end intercropping compatible plants. Plant pole beans on a trellis at the north end so they don't shade shorter crops. The trellis occupies 2 square feet of ground space but provides 6 feet of vertical growing area. Put 2 cherry tomato plants in the middle section on 6-foot cages. They occupy 4 square feet combined. Plant 2 bush zucchini at the south end and 8 square feet total. Between the tomatoes and around the edges, interplant Swiss chard, basil, and succession lettuce. The chard and basil fill spaces while tomatoes and zucchini mature. Lettuce grows in the shade, cast by taller plants during the hottest part of summer. This 32 square foot bed produces over 200 pounds of vegetables from June through September, with harvests every 2 to 3 days. Compare that to a conventional garden where the same 32 square feet planted in wide rows with single plantings produces 80 pounds with one big harvest in July, followed by empty beds. The difference is continuous production crops, vertical growing, intensive spacing, and succession planting instead of single harvest varieties spaced far apart in horizontal rows. Container gardens work identically. Use 15-gallon containers for tomatoes, 10-gallon containers for peppers and eggplant, 5-gallon containers for chard, basil, and bush beans. Vertical rail planters hold lettuce and herbs. A patio with 8 to 10 containers provides 80 to 120 pounds of summer vegetables from 40 square feet of container space. The key is choosing compact varieties bred for containers and small spaces, rather than standard varieties bred for field production. Harvest schedule and maintenance. These crops require frequent harvesting to maintain production. Cherry tomatoes need picking every 2 to 3 days. Zucchini and cucumbers need daily checks. Beans need harvesting every 2 to 3 days. Peppers and eggplant need picking weekly. Chard, basil, and lettuce need cutting weekly. That sounds like a lot until you realize it takes 15 to 20 minutes every other day to walk through a small, intensive garden and harvest what's ready. Compare that to replanting an entire garden or driving to the farmer's market weekly. The harvesting is the reward, not a chore. You're eating fresh vegetables within minutes of picking instead of produce that traveled hundreds of miles and sat in coolers for days. Maintenance beyond harvesting is minimal. Water daily if containers, and every 2 to 3 days if raised beds with good soil. Prune tomato suckers weekly. Pinch basil tips weekly. Pull the occasional weed. Total weekly maintenance is 50 minutes for a 100 square foot intensive garden, producing 4 to 5 pounds of vegetables weekly through summer. Your first summer, start with 5 crops this season to learn the system. Cherry tomatoes, bush beans with 1 succession planting, zucchini, peppers, and Swiss chard. That combination provides variety without overwhelming you with harvest volume or maintenance tasks. Next summer, add basil, cucumbers, and lettuce succession. Year 3, incorporate eggplant and pole beans. By year 3, you have a continuously productive summer garden in minimal space that feeds your family fresh vegetables daily from June through September. Plant this month. Just harvest all summer.